Light on Her Feet by Katy Haye. Rannia cracked open the door of her father's office and poked her head inside. "Papa!" He looked up from where he was sitting behind his desk, papers spread across its broad surface. "Tell me you're not still working." The Minister for Law and Order had been frowning at whatever the reports on his desk had to say, but he found a smile for his daughter, rising and opening his arms. "I could tell you that, my apple, but I taught you it was wrong to lie." Rannia skipped across the floor, meeting him in a hug. "Don't crush my dress, though, Papa." He let go immediately, stepping back with a smile. "Show me all your finery." Rannia smiled and struck a pose, hands held high and low, chin lifted to show off her jewellery. The silk dress skimmed her curves and swirled around her feet, a susurration of elegance as she moved. It had taken a lot of work, and she was proud of the effect. "You look beautiful." Her father caught one of her hands and pressed the back to his lips. "Although that's always the case." "I plan to dazzle tonight," Rannia said, glancing down at herself. "I think my maid excelled herself." "Your maid has good material to work with," her father replied. "And you're partial," she chided with a smile. He didn't argue. "Please, tell me you'll leave off your work for at least long enough to dance with me." She noticed the slight stiffening of his jaw, a sign many would have overlooked. "I still have a great deal to do," he prevaricated. Rannia pouted. "Your wretched reports, and those wretched prisoners. Please, Papa, just one dance." She opened her eyes deliberately wide. "Please? You can't not make an appearance when you're the host of tonight's ball. Everyone will gossip." It might or might not be true, but Rannia wasn't above using any tactic she could to get her way. She'd learned from the best, after all. "I'm confident you can manage without me." "Of course I can, but I don't want to. I want you there, Papa, please." "I'll try to make it for 5 minutes." She continued to pout, eyes wide, looking up at him through her lashes. Her father laughed and pressed a kiss to her brow. "Fine, fine. I solemnly promise I shall dance with you. Which dance do you want, my love? The first?" No, not everyone will have arrived by then." She pretended to think, as though she hadn't known for a week what she wanted to happen when. "The rondo," she declared. "I want everyone to see you, and the dance will enable us both to shine." "Very well, I shall mark your card." He put action to words, scrawling his name against the dance in the middle of the evening's entertainments. "Thank you, you're the best of papas," Rannia declared, pushing away from his desk and kissing his cheek. "Don't be late. I shall send a footman to remind you." "I'm sorry to say you'll probably have to." By the time Rannia reached the door, his attention had already been recaptured by his work. As unrest grew across the country, duty demanded more and more of him, striking hard against increasing numbers of rebels. He tried to keep the details from her, and she pretended to know nothing, a little dance of its own. Rannia closed the door and went to check with the butler and the housekeeper that every preparation had been made. She wanted everything to be perfect for tonight, even if her father would only be there for a short while, and his mind would certainly be elsewhere the entire time. Within moments of the ball's start, Rannia's dance card was filled. All the sons of the nobles wanted to claim a dance with her. She turned down very few, only those she could afford to annoy, and those who clearly had no interest in her other than getting close to her father. She knew she was a link to one of the most powerful men in the country, and she'd learned early to judge people carefully and allow no one to use her unless she consented to be used. Her third dance was with a shy young man who could barely get out his greeting. "I feel as though I'm in the presence of the sun," he said. Rannia's pulse surged, although her voice was calm. "How kind, although it's the moon we can all admire tonight." Their eyes met in a glance of complicity. As the movements of the dance brought them close enough to be private, he murmured, "I know how to find your father's office. Is it empty?" Rannia smiled as she turned in the dance, then replied without moving her lips, "Not yet. When he dances with me, it'll be safe to break in. You'll need to be quick." He smiled, raising her hand to his lips to hide his words. "I'm the fastest there is. I'll send a signal so you'll know it's done. Look for a light on the veranda." "Godspeed." Rannia did have to send a footman to remind her father in the middle of the ball, but she'd anticipated that, and the man took his message at the right time. The band prolonged the introduction for the rondo, and by the time it began, Papa was there, the other dancers giving room in honour of their host and his daughter. Rannia kept her eyes on her father, smiling in pleasure at being united as a family, happy at the thrum of conversation around them, those who weren't dancing watching the central couple. But she still ensured her peripheral vision could take in the windows at the side of the room. As the dance drew to a close, Rannia hadn't seen any flash of light from the veranda. Her father bowed, and she knew she had scant moments to stop his retreat to his study. Instead of curtsying, as the form demanded, Rannia turned her back and hurried to the dais where the musicians were tuning the music for the next dance. Rannia grabbed a glass of sparkling wine from a passing footman and tapped the glass with a fingernail, surveying the room as conversation stuttered to a stop. Her father faced her, but he was stepping unobtrusively towards the door. She caught his eye with a challenge, then spoke. "Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to take a moment to make a toast. Most of you know my father as the man tasked with keeping the country safe from the malcontents and rebels who want to ruin everything we've built. I, however, know him as my dear Papa." Murmurs broke out. Sympathy for the pretty young woman who could surely have little inkling of duty and the demands it placed on a person. Rannia continued, "These past months I've been forced to share him with his duties to the country, and I try not to be jealous that the land I love commands so much of my father's time." Her father had stopped, listening with arms folded. Rannia hoped he liked her speech. "My papa has sacrificed so much for the good of the country, and it's hard to find the words to express how much it means that he's made the time to be here with me tonight." A figure passed by the veranda window. The end of a cheroot glowed red. Rannia raised her glass. "So I ask all of you to join me in a toast. Here's to my father, the Minister for Law and Order, Papa." Cheers rang out. Rannia's father stepped onto the dais beside her. "Thank you for those kind words, my dear. I'm delighted to see so many friends gathered here tonight. I hope you all have the best time, but I must return to my work. Our enemies don't rest, and so nor can I." More applause. He paused only long enough to press a kiss to Rannia's temple before striding out. Rannia gestured to the musicians. "Please, continue." She stepped back onto the floor, smiling to greet her partner for the next dance. Her smile and her energy were inexhaustible the entire night, fatigue kept at bay by hope and determination. She could sleep as long as she wanted in the morning. The news that the prisoners due to be executed that day had escaped would probably reach her father at breakfast. She doubted he'd wake her over the matter. Why would he? There was nothing to link her to the supposed crime. There never had been before. She was always careful. That was Light on Her Feet by Katy Haye. Thanks for listening. Please hit like and subscribe if you want to hear more. A new video is posted up every Friday.